Recorded Books Incorporated presents an unabridged recording of The Brannocks by Matt Braun, narrated by George Guidall. This work, copyrighted 1986 by Matt Braun, is recorded by arrangement with Richard Curtis Associates Incorporated. This recording is copyrighted 1996 by Recorded Books Incorporated. Three brothers, coming from the defeated South, heading west to build new lives in the boomtown of Denver. Earl, who would gamble on anything, be it the turn of a card or a woman's smile. Virgil, lusting for wealth and power. And Clint, the loner, driven by a rage that only violence could satisfy. And now, the Brannocks.
Chapter 1. Earl Brannock emerged from the Denver house. He paused a moment in front of the hotel, lighting a slim black cheroot. Then he turned and walked off along Larimer Street. Springtime lay across the land with fiery brilliance. The earth shimmered under a late morning sun, and the streets, knee-deep in mud only a week before, were now baked hard as stone. Far in the distance, the snow-capped Rockies pulsed and vibrated as the sun neared its zenith. Sauntering along the boardwalk, Earl proceeded downtown. His pace was unhurried, and he puffed the cheroot with an air of easy-going good spirits. The Civil War was scarcely a month ended, and the close of hostilities had acted as a restorative on the people of Denver. A sense of celebration still lingered throughout the town. A native Missourian, Earl had come to Denver in 1861. The menfolk of his family, including his two brothers, had rushed to serve under the Confederate flag, but he'd thought the war a senseless waste, the work of politicians and hot-tempered fools. He had traveled far enough west to outdistance the conflict and the zealotry of both sides. Denver, while not neutral ground, had been largely untouched by the slaughter. 4 years later, in early May of 1865, the town was in the midst of a boom. Apart from mountain men, Anglos in large numbers first appeared in Colorado during the summer of 1858. A band of prospectors had discovered gold in the foothills of the Rockies, near the juncture of the South Platte River and Cherry Creek. The following year, some 50,000 men trekked westward at the height of the Pikes Peak gold rush. By 1860, richer lodes of ore were discovered deeper in the mountains. There, scattered at random across the landscape, a dozen or more mining camps were established. The original discovery site, where gold quickly petered out, was transformed into a settlement of tents and crude log structures. The townspeople named it Denver, and a year later Colorado was granted territorial status. On a level plain, situated beside Cherry Creek, Denver shortly became the principal supply point for outlying mining camps. Commerce and trade, as well as land speculation, created a thriving and relatively stable economy. By the end of the war, Denver's population was approaching 5,000, and Upper Larimer Street was the heart of the business district. The town had a bank, several dozen stores and shops, a brick kiln, and one newspaper. Still, for all its growth, Denver was very much a mountain settlement. While log cabins had given way to frame houses and brick buildings, there were no paved streets, and the only trees were cottonwoods scattered along the creek bank. Boardwalks had been constructed in the business district, and more recently in the downtown sporting district. But spring and winter the side streets were a morass of mud, often impassable except on foot. The town was prosperous, bustling with trade, though far from elegant. Earl Brannock considered it home. By profession a gambler, he made Denver his headquarters. He kept a permanent room in the hotel, and occasionally he played poker in some of the town's gambling dens. Yet, for the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?